They say the greatest lie a place can tell is that it is empty. That the most dangerous rooms are not the ones with broken doors, but the ones with polished floors and perfect light. They promise you a fresh start. They never tell you what, or who, is already waiting inside. This is not a story about ghosts. This is a story about a prayer that was left unanswered, a sacrifice that was never finished, a story of two brothers who signed a lease with a memory that refused to die. Family, gather close. This is the Dread Codex, and the story begins in a place where grace was a mask, and something hungry waited in the walls. My name is Gabriel. I do not trust quiet houses. I do not believe in coincidence. This is why. In the late summer of 2016, I arrived in Savannah, Georgia, a city of weeping oaks and buried secrets. My father's construction business had collapsed that spring, a silent betrayal that left us hollow. I was clutching a job transfer like a life preserver, drowning in debt and doubt. Salvation seemed to come from my brother, Landon. Steady, quiet Landon, with his new fiancée Lena, and a historic townhome in the old district. The owner, a Mr. Thorne, had a voice like dry parchment. He named a rent so low it felt like a blessing. A favor, he said, adjusting his spectacles. For a good family. The neighborhood prefers stable tenants. The house was a relic. High ceilings, crown molding, floors freshly refinished, smelling of lemon oil and, faintly, of myrrh. It felt sacred. It felt like a second chance. The first sign was the clock. An antique grandfather clock, left at the end of the upstairs hallway. Oak and brass, with a face so polished it seemed to watch you. But it was silent. Wound, but still. Part of the charm, Mr. Thorne assured us. Landon and Lena would move in after the wedding. For now, it was just me, unpacking our family's belongings, storing wedding gifts in what would be their room. Just stay a few weeks, Landon said. Get the place lived in, I agreed. I should have listened to the silence. The first night I slept deeply. I awoke at 3:03 a.m. to the sound of the grandfather clock chiming. A slow, heavy, mournful gong 3 times. But the hands read 12:15. I told myself it was old gears. A trick of the night. The second night, it happened again. 3:03 a.m. 3 chimes. The air in the hallway grew cold. A sharp, bone-deep cold that ended at the threshold of my bedroom door. I checked the clock. Its pendulum was still. Its weights were motionless. On the third night, I waited. I sat in the dark at 3 a.m., a flashlight in my hand. The chimes came. But this time, they were followed by a sound from Landon's future room. A soft, wet, dragging sound. Like something heavy being pulled across the newly sanded floor. I called Landon the next morning. Let's get rid of that clock, he laughed. It's an antique, Gabriel. It's worth a fortune. Leave it alone, but the clock was not the source. It was the herald. The disturbances grew, intimate. I'd find handprints on the inside of the windows, small, child-sized, facing inward. The scent of myrrh would strengthen, then shift into something coppery, like old blood and damp soil. And the cold began to move. It would settle in different rooms, pooling in corners, as if waiting. I brought a friend from work, Marcus, a rational, sturdy man who believed in wiring, not wraiths. We spent the night playing cards in the parlor. At 3:03 a.m., the clock chimed. Marcus stood, face pale. "Your clock's broken, man." Then the hallway light flickered, and we saw it, a shadow, small and slight, dart from the base of the clock into Landon's room. Not running, sliding. Marcus left before sunrise. He didn't say goodbye. I was alone again. Then the whispering started. Not in my ears, in the walls. A faint liquid murmur, like a child praying into a cup of water. I could never make out words. Only the tone, pleading, then angry, then mournful. I went to the local historical society. The woman there went very quiet when I gave the address. That house, there were stories. A family back in the 1930s. The wife was devout, excessively so. She turned the upstairs room into a private chapel. Said angels were telling her to prepare sacrifices. She leaned forward, her eyes old and afraid. They found her in that room, and they found small graves in the cellar. Her husband said he knew nothing. The house was sealed for years, a private chapel. Sacrifices. Landon's room. That night, I entered the room. I had to know. The wedding gifts were stacked neatly. In the center of the floorboards felt soft, spongy. I pressed my hand to them. They were ice cold, and from beneath them I heard it, a slow, rhythmic knock. Knock, 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 like a tiny fist on a coffin lid. I ran. I called Landon. "Don't come here. Don't bring Lena. The house is wrong," but Landon was angry. "We have nowhere else to go, Gabriel. Get a grip, pride. Pressure. Family duty." I stayed. The night before they were to arrive, I broke. I took a crowbar to the soft floorboards. The wood came up too easily, like lifting a scab. Underneath was not subfloor, it was dirt. Black, damp, foul-smelling earth in the heart of a Savannah townhome. And buried in it, small bones. Tiny. Fragile. Arranged in a circle. And in the center of the circle, a small porcelain doll, its face smoothed flat, its dress stained dark. From the hallway, the grandfather clock began to chime. Not 3 times. It did not stop. It chimed and chimed, a mad, speeding cacophony, the brass gears shrieking. And from the dirt at my feet, a small gray hand emerged. Then another. A child-sized form began to pull itself from the earth, its head tilting, its featureless face turning toward me. It did not speak. It hummed. A hymn. What a friend we have in Jesus, but slowed. Distorted. Mournful. I stumbled back into the hallway. The clock's glass face shattered. From within, a black, viscous liquid began to pour, spreading across the hall floor toward me. I fled. The next day, they arrived. I tried to stop them. I screamed, begged. Landon thought I'd lost my mind. They moved in. For 3 days, nothing. Silence. I thought maybe it was just me. On the 4th day, Lena called. Her voice was thin, stretched. "Gabriel, the clock, it's singing." I heard it in the background, that distorted, slowed hymn humming from the hallway. "And Landon, he's been sleepwalking. He goes to that room and he kneels. He's digging in the floor with his hands." I raced back. Lena was catatonic at the neighbors. Landon was in the house. He was in the room on his knees, his fingers bloody, digging. He had uncovered more bones. He was arranging them in a pattern, a star. His eyes were open. But he wasn't there. "She's almost free," he whispered, his voice not his own. It was high, liquid, childlike. "Mama needs one more." one more to open the door. I pulled him out. He fought me, weeping. We went back with a priest, Father Almeida. He crossed the threshold, made the sign of the cross, and immediately stepped back, gasping. "This is not a haunting, son," he said, face ashen. "This is a locus, a place where a ritual was attempted but never completed. The energy is hungry. It wants an ending, a final sacrifice to seal the pact. How do we stop it? We don't. We contain it. The house must be sealed, blessed, and never ever inhabited again." We emptied the house. As we carried the last box out, the grandfather clock, now shattered and silent, suddenly ticked. One loud final tick. And from every wall, in unison, came the sound of small hands clapping. Slow. Mocking. Landon never recovered. He sits in a facility now, humming that hymn, his fingers forever scratching at his own palms. Lena left. The wedding photos were burned. I moved away. I changed my number. I thought it was over. But the story does not end at the new doorstep. Last month, I received a parcel. No return address. Inside was a small porcelain doll, its face smoothed flat, its dress clean, and a note written in a child's shaky cursive. "You left before the final hymn. Mama says you have to come back and sing. We saved a place for you in the circle. We are always listening." And now, every night at 3:03 a.m., the old grandfather clock in my memory chimes. And in the silence that follows, I can hear it, the soft, wet sound of something dragging itself out of the earth. Closer every night. This is the story of the Savannah townhome. It is not a ghost story. It is a summoning. The most profound evil does not always rage. It sometimes hums a hymn. It kneels in prayer. It twists faith into famine and devotion into a feast for something that never dies. So listen closely, family. If you are ever offered a sanctuary that feels too quiet, too blessed, if the cold settles not in the air but in your bones, if you hear the fervent, hungry whisper of something that believes it is saving you, run. Some places are not haunted by what was lost, but by what was summoned and left unfinished. If you have a story that haunts you, send it to contact.thedreadcodex@gmail.com. Your truth becomes our tale. Your likes and comments keep these stories alive. Until next time, may your path be lit. May your faith be your own. Good night.